tax reform as a tool for enhancing efficiency and transparency, the role of chartered accountants. I'm sure we all know that the new tax law signed last year June took effect January 1st, 2026. And as chartered accountants who majors with figure, we play a prominent role in seeing to the actualization of the full implementation of this new law. As we all know, we play a key role as administrator, practitioners, and professionals. So on this voyage, we will be moving to have a deeper understanding of the new tax law, on how the workability is going to be. Without wasting so much of our time, let me invite the chairman of session for this plenary session 2, and is no other person than our father, the president, 2003-2004. Please, let's make it loud for Basharun Jaye K. Rando, OFR FCA. Please, a round of applause for our revered past president.
All right, thank you, distinguished professional colleagues here present. Can we give it up to our father again, Bashorun J.K. Jair Rando, OFR FCA ICANN President 2003-2004. Thank you, sir. All right, let me quickly bring on stage the man to do justice to the topic at hand, tax reform as a tool for enhancing efficiency and transparency, the role of chartered accountants. Distinguished professional colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, can we put it up to Zacchaeus Adedeji, PhD, FCA, the Executive Chairman, Nigeria Revenue Service, ably represented here today by Mr. Femi Olarinde, FCA, Special Advisor to the Executive Chairman, Nigerian Revenue Service, Head Fiscal Tax Reform Implementation, Nigeria Revenue Service. Could you put your hands together for him?
Thank you very much for that introduction. I'm being made to understand that Dr. Femi Olarinde, FCA, we acknowledge that particular thing. So on this note, we won't want to waste so much of our time. I'll hand over the mic to our father, who will share this session, and we have an hour, 10 minutes to handle this session. Thank you very much.
10 minutes?
No, 1 hour, 10 minutes of your session. Thank you, sir.
The 61st President of ICANN, Alhaji Haruna Yaya, the birthday girl, happy birthday, many happy returns. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, past presidents of ICANN, ICANN council members, please permit me to stand on existing protocol. My own introduction will be very short. I consider it a special privilege to be invited to chair the session which will be delivered by Dr. Zach Adedeji, who is ably represented by Dr. When Mr. Olayemi Cardoso was appointed as the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria at a time when the economy was on the brink of collapsing, he lamented on CNN, and I quote him, "Mine is the worst job in the world." End of quote. Considering the unrelenting controversy over the Income Tax Act, which the Speaker launched on 1st of January of this year, Mr. Cardoso has competition. None of us in this audience should envy him as he goes about accomplishing the formidable task of reforming our broken taxation system. We all live in awe of the taxman. Here are some quotations from the Bible. The Bible generally instructs believers to pay taxes as a civic duty. Romans chapter 13, 1-7. What is owed and Jesus' statement to render to Caesar the things that belong to Caesar. In the Quran, the primary financial obligation mentioned is zakat, with other levies such as Zigzag and Combs. In Shakespeare, references to taxes often reflect the political instability and financial pressure of Elizabethan times. Without much further ado, I would like to hand over the microphone to the representative of the chairman of the newly established Nigeria Revenue Service. Thank you very much.
Yeah, good afternoon all. Let me start by also recognizing all the protocols. The 61st president of Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, all the council members here. I will respectfully honor my boss, IGDS2026, every other council member, and also pardon me to recognize my boss, Otuba Toby Abiola. Thank you very much. I also respect everyone who has been identified here today. The Yoruba man in me will not allow me to stand on those protocols because I think it may amount to disrespect. So I want to identify them. I humble identify them. I bring you greetings from Dr. Zak Adedeji. He has sent his regards and he is not able to be here today because of other pressing national assignments, and he has asked that I should do justice to the topic of today, and I will try my best, and I believe I know he's going to receive the reports of my performance here today. Thank you very much. We know that the tax reform is one of the hottest cake that has refused to leave the limelight for almost 1 year now, or even more. The more we try to, we don't know whether we should talk more about it or not to talk again. Because the more you talk about it, the more the headlines come out. But we will continue to speak about it because the only way you teach people something is continuing to teach them. That's the only way you make them understand. And today, this gathering is unique because the lawyers, we say they are gathering, they are learned. The accountant, for me, and every other person, I tell the lawyers, you are learned because it's in the past. That is past tense. For us as accountants, we are educated and we continue to seek knowledge. And that is what distinguishes an accountant from other professions. Thank you very much. So I will start. Can my presentation come up, please? Can my presentation come up, please? I always, my topic is the tax reform as a tool to enhance efficiency and transparency, the role of chartered accountants. And my presentation is going to be more on the role of chartered accountants because there's depth of knowledge about the tax reform. And the biggest role of chartered accountant is to put that information out there and to help the taxpayers to ensure they understand and take advantage of the reform. The first thing I ask, because this is a professional environment, how many of us have read the tax reform, the acts? Can I ask that question? How many of us have read the law? Okay, I can't even see half of the all. I can't see half of the all. Okay, I can see the problem about the tax reform now. Because many people have not read the document. Some of them have read it either in the beer parlor, so they've seen a snippet of the law. Some of them have read it in social media, 10 things that have changed. Some have read 53 agencies that NRS will collect their job. That's what they know. So the first thing is for us to understand the reform. The first thing is for us to understand it. And please, the best way to understand it is to read it. I have done over 50 presentations. In fact, I will say up to 100 because I've lost counting. Today I was trying to collate all my presentation, and when I got to about 50-something, I stopped. Because for every presentation I do, I always customize it to that particular environment. So, even the presentation is not sufficient to tell you what is in the reform. So the best thing to do is to read it. Thank you very much. So I go straight. I think it's, okay, next slide, please. Why tax reform? Next slide, please. I think I'm on the third slide now. Tax reform is no longer about revenue generation. So when we hear tax reform, it's not about the revenue generation. It's about governance. It's about efficiency, and it's about trust. Nigeria's fiscal challenges ranges from low tax to GDP ratio, to leakages in the tax system, the informality of business, and these are very paramount that's led to Nigerian having a tax reform. If I ask in this room, what is your knowledge about tax system? Some of us will say opaque. Some of us will say archaic laws. Some will say multiplicity of taxes. Some will say confused. Some will say even as an accountant, I still don't understand it. So these are the needs for a reform. And when you get the word reform, reform means there was a form. That form is not good. So what do? We change the form, and that is the essence. And so, if we are fixing the problem, that should be identified and recognized. Recent tax reforms signaled a shift towards simplicity. So many of us, this chairman of session was telling us some provisions in the Bible about taxes. Many of us see our tax laws as that law written in King James Version of the Bible. And so it's difficult for many to read and understand. So one of the mandates is to simplify the law, write in plain English so that we do not need the lawyers to interpret to us again. We should be able to read and understand. And also, he said, make the system transparent. Transparent is for everyone to understand, know what to pay, when to pay, where to pay, and at what time to pay, so that the tax authority it's not on the call of the tax authority. And also, I remember the president made something. He said, we want you to develop a tax system, one that taxes prosperity and not poverty, and one that taxes the fruit and not the seed. That means that is even a whole lot of transparency even on the part of the president. And chartered accountants sit at the intersection of policy, compliance, and economic behavior. Because when people need to pay their taxes, or when they need to put together their records, you are the one that they will call. If they want tax to minimize their tax, they will call you. If they want to, they will not hide their financial affairs for you. So you are the doctor of finance. And so that aspect is there for business. Now, my next slide, please. And we need to understand the tax reform. Tax reform refers to the changes in tax laws, administration, and processes aimed at what? Improving efficiency in tax collection and administration, enhancing transparency and reducing discretion, broadening the tax base without stifling growth, strengthening voluntary compliance, and in Nigeria, reform now focuses on as much as how taxes are administered and what taxes are imposed. My next slide. And so this next slide, as accountant, one of our roles is to speak to our clients about taxation. And if you look at this slide, it talks about a professional in the marketing industry. He has been so successful in US, he has been so successful in Europe, and so this product was launching in the Middle East. And they called him and said, you have been successful. Can you go to Middle East and market this product for us? But when he got there, I said, yeah, I can do it anywhere. If I can do it in America, if I can do it in Europe, why not Middle East? So he got there. And when he got there, the first challenge he met was that he could not speak Arabic, and the major language in the Middle East is Arabic. So he said, well, there's a universal language, which is graphics. Music and graphics are arts. They are universal language. So he developed these arts and say, well, anyone that sees this will understand. If I may ask in the room, what is your understanding of this? Can somebody help me? What's your understanding of this? Okay. Okay. Let me give him the microphone.
Thank you very much. He was sad without energy. He drank Coca-Cola, and he was recruited, and he was running.
Thank you very much. Do we all agree? Do we all agree? Majority said yes. So I know you're no. However, let me tell you one thing. Yes, that is what it is. He was exhausted. He took a bottle of Coca-Cola and he got reinvigorated, energetic, and started running. That is the message the man who developed this took there. However, you know I said accountant, your job is to interpret the law to your clients. However, he has done that interpretation based on his understanding because he thinks, and all of us here, we read and think in English. And that is why we said he was exhausted. But in the Middle East, they read and think in Arabic. And in Arabic, they read from right to left. So, what is the message? So, you know what he has done? He has just killed the product he was supposed to market. So we, as accountants, when we take the reform to our clients, we are spotting probably those places that did not benefit them. But we need to shine them on the light of those that benefit them. Of course, there's still room for tax planning. And so, but we know we must do it ethically. So if he was passing that message, what he said is that the man was energetic. He took a bottle of Coca-Cola and became exhausted. So who is going to buy that product? So he has ended up killing the product in the Middle East. And so context matters a lot. When we are sending message, the context matters. What are we sending? Who is listening to us? What is our interest? So you see a lot of people speaking about the tax reform on social media. Some of them have interest. So if I was not paying taxes at all, if they are discussing tax around me, I will be very uncomfortable. That means someone wants to shine light in what I do not do. And so the fact that they are even talking about it is a problem. So let's go on. The next slide. So when we talk about efficiency and transparency, what do they mean? Efficiency in taxation means lower costs of compliance for taxpayers, faster and predictability of tax administration. We should know what the tax, if I need to apply for my tax clearance certificate, I should know how long it will take me, so it do not hamper my business. Better use of data and technology, that is what efficiency in taxation means. And transparency means clear tax rules and guidance. There should be no room for so much discretion. Predictability of an interpretation of an enforcement. Predictable interpretation and enforcement. Reduce opportunity for rent seeking and corruption. Tax reform aims to institutionalize both. That's both efficiency and in taxation and transparency. Now, next slide here. The key reform themes include, I had mentioned, the simplification of the tax laws and procedures. Today, there are many things that we do. In fact, this tax reform have reduced the complexity of most of our tax calculation. In fact, you know, under the Nigerian tax policy, it allows an individual to be able to compute his tax and represent himself even before the tax authority. But it now says where he needs to use a person to represent, he must use a qualified accountant, tax practitioners, and the rest. Now, this tax reform has simplified most of those calculations. Imagine we have what we call balancing charge. We have a lot of things we do around capital allowance. Now it's more simplified for people to be able to understand. And so there's a convergence of rules, digitization of tax administration, harmonization of tax base and tax rates. You do not need to read multiple laws to become a tax expert now. In fact, I used to ask people, how many tax laws do we have before now? Nobody in this room knows how many tax laws we have. My major work is to draft tax policies and draft tax laws. I don't know how many tax laws we have. And why did I say so? You may think you know all the laws. Then you just see one agency, maybe Institute of Oceanography or something, and they ask that you charge 0.1% of annual turnover of companies in the shipping industry. How many of us know that? I think in 1 year, we encountered that there was a tax called Lottery Companies Income Tax that many people didn't know. And so what we say is that now have a convergence of those laws in one single law so that everyone can understand. Clearer allocation of taxing rights. We have fiscal federalism already. Now this law helps us to delineate the powers of tax authority and around what they do. Strengthening dispute resolution and taxpayers' protection. So the introduction of the Office of the Tax Ombuds helps for taxpayers to get adequate service, to be able to seek redress where they are not getting excellent service. These reforms reflect a move towards rule-based rather than discretionary-based taxation. Next slide. Now, how tax reform will enhance efficiency in Nigeria. One is the introduction of digital filing. The NRS have been doing digital filing for a couple of years. But how many states? Is it all the states that have it? No. The tax reform is now ensuring that everyone can have it. And not just ensuring, the JRB can develop and also help to ensure that there's a common tax filing portal for even all the subnationals. The introduction and data matching systems. The introduction of e-invoicing is also a game changer. And this is where I want accountants to also be very, very particular. They should understand the introduction of the e-invoicing. Because the deployment is still in phases, we have not seen how big it is. It will get to a point in this country that the only way to verify transactional data will be through the e-invoicing system. Because for everyone who is purchasing, there must be an invoice. For everyone who is also selling, there is an invoice. And you need to claim your input VAT. If that data is not found there, you can't claim. In fact, it will get to a point where we do what we call the pre-filling. The system does your computation, does your prepare a mini accounts and send to taxpayer and say, please verify or update. And expense recognition and deduction may also be through verification from this portal. So we need to also understand it. We can also position ourselves as an accountant to become either the system integrator or the middleman between the taxman and the taxpayers. Efficiency also means reduced manual processing and human interface. If everything becomes automated, it makes things faster, easier, and reduces the cost of compliance. Improve coordination between tax authorities and the MDAs. So many times people have complained, oh, I did contract with a government agency. I have not gotten credit note for years. Automation and improved coordination will help to take care of this. We also provide risk-based audit rather than blanket enforcement. So there are measures, there are many provisions in the law that ensures that there's risk profiling and also things that trigger taxpayers that become recalcitrant. And so this will help. And the outcome is that we have faster administration and better revenue outcomes with fewer disputes. And how tax reform enhances transparency, clearer definition of taxable income, and allowable deductions. They are very clear and strict. If you go to section 202 of the Nigerian Tax Act, you see a very robust definition section that do not leave room for misinterpretation. Publication of guidance and circulars and public notices. The law recognizes it. There has been time that the NRS have issued circulars and the rest and been challenged. The law now recognizes those provisions, the power to issue that. And this provides transparency for taxpayers. Strengthening taxpayers' rights, appeal, and mechanism. When you go to part 2 of the Nigerian Tax Administration Act, it provides the right of appeal to taxpayers. Institutionalized checks such as tax appeal tribunals and the Office of the Tax Ombuds. The law allows, and transparency improves trust and voluntary compliance because that's the utmost goal. And where does a chartered accountant fit in? The next slide. Chartered accountants are uniquely positioned as one, advisors to business and individuals. They are implementers of the tax policy at firm level for those who are working in employment, interpreters of complex tax legislation, and they are gatekeeper of ethical financial reporting. This role is very critical, gatekeeper of ethical financial reporting. So the role goes beyond compliance to accuracy of systems and integrity. And I know this is the motto of ICANN, accuracy and integrity. And so we need to ensure, we need to ensure that what we do is accurate and it is with utmost integrity. Truly, after the account, when you write, this is a true representation and a true and fair view, it should be really true and fair view. And the role of the chartered accountants include one, translating the tax reform into practice. We interpret the tax laws and regulations for businesses, align accounting systems with revised tax rules, ensure consistency between financial reporting and tax filing, and help organization transition smoothly. This reduces errors, disputes, and enforcement for such a risk. The second role is enhancing voluntary compliance, proper tax planning within the ambit of the law, accurate computation and timely filing, educating management on tax obligation and risk. Chartered accountants help to move Nigeria from enforced compliance to voluntary compliance. This is a role. The third one is strengthening transparency and governance, upholding ethical and standards in tax advice and reporting, resisting aggressive and abusive tax practices, promoting full disclosure and documentation. You know, this tax reform brings a lot of documentation and disclosure, to the extent that if you wish to perform tax planning, you must disclose it to the tax authority. There's a provision like that. And also, professional integrity is central in transparent tax system. The role, supporting government and policy objectives. Chartered accountants contribute to policy consultation and reforms. So we need to continually contribute so that we are not reacting. Provide feedback on practical implementation challenges. Support capacity building in public finance institution. Act as bridge and a bridge between taxpayers and tax authority. And this collaboration will improve the policy outcome. Let me quickly, so there are some roles that are meant in the law. Chapter 2, Part 1 of the Nigerian Tax Administration Act provides some mandates that the chartered accountant will definitely perform for their clients. Income tax returns for companies. Estimated income returns for liquefied natural gas companies. Income tax returns for individual. The pay-as-you-earn returns and remittance. Simplified annual income tax returns for small businesses and the informal economy. Estimated returns for upstream petroleum operation. Actual returns for upstream petroleum operation. Monthly returns on petroleum royalty. Annual returns for petroleum royalty. Monthly returns for mineral royalty. And monthly returns and all this. I want to emphasize on the number 20, which talks on, okay, number 17 first. It's a new one. Number 17 talks about tax incentive returns. It means that when your clients have enjoyed any form of incentive, there must be a return in that respect. And also, there is a return on, okay, let me move to accreditation of tax agents. Why do we need accreditation of tax agents? I know that some professional bodies have kicked against this, but what led to that? Because I was also privy to the, when this was drafted. There was an issue about the NRS reported that they found about 7 accounts in a particular, across some of our offices. The same account, the same figure, but different names. So how is that possible? And that account had the stamp. So we need to move. We need to, so the argument was that no, we need to do more work. And now what is that going to do? Now professionals will be rated. There's going to be rating. So if you fall within A category, that means your accounts may not be scrutinized much. And your clients may not be subject to so much audit. That is a pointer to help for risk profiling. But for those whose accounts or whose rating are low, their clients may have more, you may need to shine more into their affairs. And so this helps us to adjust and maintain our real motto of accuracy and integrity. And so I needed to just speak about this. So, so tax reform, civil service efficiency, and accountants. Reform rely accurately on financial data and reporting. Accountants help to standardize the processes across MDAs because we are all accountants there in public service. Support public sector financial management and control. Enhance credibility of government revenue data. Efficient taxation, strengthening overall public sector governance. So the role of an accountant also helps in the public service. Because when there's accurate data that is produced through accurate reporting by accountants, government can function better and can plan better. Risk, if accountants' role is weak, what is the risk? Misrepresentation of the reform, number one. So if you misinterpret the reform, there's going to be an issue. Number two, increase dispute and litigation. I'm sure we need to help our clients and not to think about litigation, not to create dispute. Erosion of taxpayer trust. Our taxpayer may not trust if that role is not performed well. Persistent inefficiency and opacity in the system. Also, enforcement sanction on taxpayers, because where we do not perform our role well, our taxpayers will have issues and will be sanctioned. Credibility and reputational deficiency is another consequence. And we say tax reform will only succeed or fail largely to implementation level. And the way forward, what is expected of ICANN members? Continuous professional education on tax reforms, stronger emphasis on ethics and public interest, constructive engagement with tax authority, advocacy for simplicity, clarity, fairness in taxation. Chartered accountants must be reform partners, not bystanders. So we need to join our voice in ensuring that this reform succeeds. And what are the key takeaways for us today? Tax reforms are a powerful tool for efficiency and transparency. Nigeria's reforms signal a shift towards predictability of rule-based taxation. Chartered accountants are central to successful implementation. Professional integrity and technical competence are critical. Sustainable tax reform requires collaboration between government and professionals. And what we need to note again from the reform, we need to understand the new legislation, the compliance obligation. Our advisory role has expanded even beyond what we are doing. The impact on tax planning, what we need to do even when we are doing planning. We need to understand there is a need for technology adoption, training and continuing education, client education, you need to litigation preparedness because of transition and for misunderstanding. Because there can also be a misunderstanding even on the part of the tax authority. And also we need to understand the international tax implication of the reform. What we do locally may also impact internationally. Advocacy and professionalism, networking and collaboration. We can't do it on our own. We need to network with other professionals. We need to network with our colleagues. We need to network with the tax authority. And adequate monitoring of legislative development. Of course, there's been news about some changes in some provisions of the law. We need to continue to monitor as at when they are being changed, so that we will not be referring to a provision that is no longer subsisting. And so, in conclusion, I'll say the tax reform offers a vital opportunity to simplify compliance and promote fairness. Its success, however, depends on effective implementation, guided by the best practices by professionals. And tax reform is not just about changing laws. It's about changing behavior. Chartered accountants are the custodian of that change. And I say thank you for listening to me. I'll wait your question.
distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies, on your behalf, I would like to sincerely thank Dr. Femi Olorinde for his excellent presentation. But you know, being a taxman, it's not an easy job. Nobody likes to pay taxes. But regardless, he has acquitted himself very creditably. Now is the time for questions, and all the questions should be directed to the taxman, not to me. On that note, I would just like to share with you our experience some time ago at KPMG in UK. We had a client who was very difficult. He made a lot of money from property development, but he had one aversion. He did not like to pay tax. However, his business went bust, and at the same time, he developed a terminal ailment. Even on his deathbed, he decided to even score with the taxman. What he did was to put a lemon inside an envelope. He sent it to the taxman with a very cryptic message. Now, squeeze this. Thank you very much.
Can we put our hands together for our revered past president? Thank you very much. So we want to give room for questions, and we'll leave it in the hands of the taxman, just like he said. So please, I'll give number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. I'll come to you, no problem. I've seen my Oga, because we will change it. Number 5, 6, 7. On this side. Okay. So please, can we please step forward? I want to crave our indulgence to someone, to something. Just give us your name, your membership number, and please, straight to your question. Please, straight to your question. So Alhaji will start first, and you come to...
Our president, our chairman, our distinguished speaker. Razak Jayola is the name, Chief Consultant, AJ Silicon. And I can pass president. Can we listen, please?
Hello. Please, let's have your audience, please.
I want to thank our guest speaker for that brilliant performance. And when he said he had made about 100 presentations, I have no cause to doubt him, because this is the 4th time I will be listening to him. The last one, he was invited by the Pace-Setter district. Which district is that? So thank you very much. My question is, please try to dig deep into the IT opportunities for chartered accountants in this tax reform. In particular, the e-invoicing platform. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Please, I can see a very long list of us asking questions. I'll please appeal. 1 question per person. 1 question per person. If it's long, I will cut it off. Please, and please. Thank you for your understanding.
My name is Dr. Prince Oyebade Oyedepo. Membership number 6789. The paper presenter said it is our responsibility to interpret and enlighten our client and members of the public. I want to assure you that we are doing that. All the spokespersons of the government have not been assisting us. Under personal income tax, anybody earning above 800,000 naira will pay tax. But the people in the informal sector have always been paying levies of association. But we have told them that it is not going to be based on the table the moment you earn above 800,000 naira. But the spokesperson of the government will come out plainly to tell them that they are not the target. By implication, what it means is that what they are paying before is what they will continue to pay. You have to really address it in order not to confuse members of the public and some of us that are advising them. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Number 2, please.
Paul Akinloye is my name. Membership number 6249. My question is this. The implementation of the new tax law has come into effect by 1st of January 2026. I want to ask, how many circulars has NRS released as guidance to the practitioners of this tax law? That's just my question.
Thank you very much. Number 3.
Thank you very much. My name is Olayin Kayori, is my name, membership 22732. The presenter made mention that tax reform is no longer about revenue generation, and it's about governance, efficiency, and trust. Now, if you look at Lagos State, we have the issue of ticket tout all over Lagos State, where most times they collect taxes. I don't know whether it's taxes or their own form of revenue from the transporters, in Lagos. And you see that most times this constitutes nuisance to a state like Lagos State, that we are saying Lagos State is a mega a city which is not being seen in other parts in Africa. So my question is, what is this tax reform actually going to do to solve the issue of ticket tout in Lagos? Because we do talk about technology now. So I think it is important for us to look at that aspect so that Lagos will be a sane place for everyone to live. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next.
My name is Wasiu Adeyemi Mohammed. Membership number 26555. Thank you for the presentation. In every law, especially when it comes to tax law, there are supposed to be regulations. And this law is supposed to take effect from 1st January 2026. Today is 6th of February 2026. The regulations are not out. What are we doing? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next.
My name is Akinshola Anyela, membership number 042210. Sir, you mentioned that the tax firms will be rated. What are the criteria? Considering the train-to-trainer that was done, that was not well circulated, a lot of people register, only few are trained. Is it also going to be part of the criteria? And what is the... okay, you didn't hear me?
Use the mic properly.
Hello, okay. I said my name is Akinshola Anyela, membership number 042210. You said tax firm will be rated. I said, what are the criteria, number one? And then under that, there is train-the-trainer that was conducted, that was not well circulated. A lot of people registered, they picked some, the module were done, and then some of the people that are registered, some of the firms, some of the individuals that are registered were not even captured for that train-the-trainers. For tax. So what is the NRS doing about it, or is it the tax reform committee? What is the next thing? How are they going to do it so that everyone will be included? There will be inclusion and there will be, when they are doing the rating, to be a consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Thank you. My name is Samson Ajibade, membership number 27206. I just want you to throw more light on the issue of the practitioners that they will not be screened and be giving accreditations. So will it also not be like duplication of duties? These people already professionals in ICANN or CITN or the case may be. And what will be the modality and the standard? I just want you to throw more light for you to enlighten us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. My name is Akinwezi Israel. Question 1 is in line with his own. The accreditation you are going to do, sir, should be done such that it will still provide a level playing field for all professionals. Are you okay?
Okay.
Number 2, the tax audit, you say there is tax audit now. But you say it's going to be risk-based. How you want to apply risk-based focus in tax audit is what I don't know. I'm an auditor.
Okay.
Rather than looking at risk-based, why not say let it be more objective rather than revenue generation? Because currently, the tax audit your team are doing is to make money at the expense of taxpayers.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
My name is JP Egbe, membership number 008287. My question is, when will we have the guideline for implementing this tax? And why is professional firms not categorized? It's small and big. You say professional firms are not considered, whether small or big. Why is
Thank
so?
you. Next.
Thank you very much. My name is Adeyinka Delabu, membership number 038539. My question is on withholding tax on rent and the practicability of implementation. Looking at a scenario of a willing tenant and an unwilling landlord, who you want to deduct rent, withholding tax on his rent, and is saying a no. If you decide to gross it up in your books, and the taxman comes and he places the 10% on the gross, it's a double jeopardy to the company, and yet we want trust in the books of accounts. Thank you.
Thank you. The last two.
Yeah. My name is Akiola Titilaya Roots, membership number 036590. My question is it the reform said that a close relative to a defaulter, a tax default, that the law, this new reform, allows the government to go to the third party and collect the tax? Did you get the question, sir? What I'm trying to say, does this reform allow the government to go to third party to collect the tax? Like now, I'm a landlord. The government can go straight to my tenant to collect the tax on my behalf.
Thank you. The last question, please.
My name is Solomon Oweye, membership number 16485. My question is on TIN registration for business name. Why is it difficult for NRS to generate TIN for old business names? Because when I visited some of the offices, they said they don't do it in Lagos, that they send it to Abuja. And some has been for maybe 5 months, and the TIN is yet to be generated. So I want to know the reason, and what are you doing concerning that?
Okay, thank you very much. So, Mr. Femi, please help us, Dr. Femi, help us do justice to them.
Yeah, thank you very much, and thank you for your question. I did not expect less. I'm sure if they allow, I will get up to 50 questions here today. So the first one, our past president, IT, you said we should ensure the accountant. What can we do to ensure the accountant also understand IT and continue to tap into, be in that field, especially the use of e-invoicing? I had mentioned also the advantage and how we can position ourselves even to be either what we call a system integrator or an access point provider. So the NRS is currently accepting application NRS and the NIDA are the one that does that to ensure, to allow taxpayers, accountants and professionals be able to perform that role for their clients. So we can take advantage of that. 2, taxes and levies collected by association. How is the tax reform addressing all these motor park or road taxes? Now, you already said that they are collected by associations and not government agencies. The problem is that many of these motor vehicles are members of those associations. I would like to liken it to professional dues that we pay. Many of them have joined the association and they have committed to paying money. Yes, they may be collecting it on, in a way that is not good, and especially many of us. But because they are on the road, it affects every one of us. What we will ask for is a structured way for those associations to do their work. But it's difficult for government or the tax reform to address such matter, except government outlaw the collection of those monies. However, because we've seen some states use same method to collect taxes, but for those states that use such method to collect taxes, that has been outlawed now. The JRB has reduced, in conjunction with the state, have now reduced the numbers of taxes that are payable across the subnational. And so we have harmonized too, and many of them are now passing the law. At the last count, about 13 states have passed that law to harmonize their taxes. And so that will be my response for that. Implementation and circulars. Truly, we all know that the law in itself is sufficient. However, we need to provide, well, I will not say it's sufficient. When the law is drafted, it's expected that we comply, whether there is a circular or not. However, to make compliance easy, the NRS have the role and the relevant tax authority to provide circulars and regulation to break down the provisions of the law. And truly, we are working tirelessly to ensure that these circulars and regulations come out. Many of them have been drafted. We are waiting approvals from both the minister and our board. So I want to tell you, this would have been released if not for the controversy about some of the provision of the law that have been in the fore from the National Assembly, and we need to take consideration of those provisions so that whenever we release those documents, they can be seen to be the right information. So the review is still going on, and very soon we are waiting the approval. Rather, most of them have been concluded. We are waiting the approval of the Minister for Regulations and the approval of the board for the circulars. And that will happen soon. Lagos State and tickets and tout. I think it's the same thing with what I've addressed earlier. Regulation, okay, same thing. Accreditation of tax agents. Now, there's going to be the JRB in conjunction with professional bodies, because definitely they'll be calling the professional bodies to draft most of those criteria. The JRB, which is the body for all the tax authority in Nigeria, has been given that responsibility to develop the modalities and the criteria. They will be working in conjunction with professional bodies in the tax environment. And so be rest assured that everyone will be carried along to ensure a seamless accreditation process. So that is also in the fore. They are working seriously to ensure that that is done as soon as possible. And that does not stop that we could continue to perform our functions as accountants, even if that has not been done. That, because it's new, there's a transition period which allows us to continue. Risk-based, objectivity rather than revenue-based. Well, like I said, this law wants to also ensure that we do more of risk-based. And when we say risk-based, it is not just we are even assessing our own objectivity. It's going to be driven more by intelligence, both technology intelligence and human intelligence. And so when I say risk-based, there must be something that triggers a risk before we want to audit you. So that is what I mean by risk-based. Definitely a risk-based system is also very objective, but it is not revenue-based. Except what can trigger audit if a particular person has been remitting tax well, has been filing well, and stop filing, stop remitting. Definitely that is a risk-based. It's even risk. And definitely when you say it's revenue, definitely yes, he has not paid what was expected of him, and that is a risk, but not a drive for revenue like you. The next one, also about guidelines. Withholding tax on rent. The first thing you should know is that an individual does not have that obligation to collect that withholding tax. So that leaves us with corporate entities. And so for corporates, I am sure that corporate entities go into all forms of agreements and they fulfill those agreements. So why can they not be able to also do that when it comes to their rental agreement? I'm sure they can also agree to that. So, well, that is what the provision of the law is. And people have been complying, except where there is a collusion. And I think I would like us to also understand this. Powers, okay. Someone said in the new law, they can collect tax from your relative, tax that belongs to you. Okay, that is not what the law says. What I know what you are trying to explain is the power of substitution. And what the power of substitution, please, that's why I asked the question. How many of us have read this law? In fact, how many of us have even read the old law? The power of substitution is not new. It has always been in the law. Most of the things people are contesting or debating today have always been in the law. The power of substitution simply says that where you have failed to fulfill your tax obligation, a third party or your creditor can be called upon to remit such tax, to remit money that belongs to you with them. And how does this happen? There is a procedure. It's not just to seize the money. No, the government will not seize the money. There is a procedure. The procedure, of course, an assessment will be raised on you. You have 30 days to appeal the assessment. When you appeal the assessment, the tax authority will also reply till you get a notice of refusal to amend, or you both agree to a tax. And when you agree to when to pay. When you agree to when to pay, that is when the tax authority now waits for you to pay. Where you now fail to pay after agreement, and you know the process of agreeing may even take another 3 months. Because when you appeal within 30 days, the tax authority also responds within another 2 weeks or so. Another person, you also now come back with another refusal to amend, or you agree. You can even ask for time installmental payment. At the end of the day, you agree that you are going to pay a certain amount, and you agree on date to pay. When you refuse to now pay, the tax authority now start looking for your creditor, somebody who is owing you. And in many cases, the person who is owing you are banks. So the tax authority now write to your bank and say, see, before they even have the right to write, the tax authority must go to a court and get what we call a warrant, a garnishee order, that they will use to go to your bank to substitute your bank for you, or substitute you for your bank. Now, it's after that has been done. Most banks will also not take the money. What they do is to first lien your account, and that's to call your attention. And when you now go to the bank now tell you, we have this garnishee order against you that you have failed to pay a tax that you have agreed to. And that is when bank will now say, go and settle it before we unlien or remove this lien on your account. So at the end of the day, the tax authority does not have the power to even take your money. You must agree to it, and the procedure takes a lot of time. And so when we see people talking about this power as if it's a common power that can be used by just going to bank and say, debit this man for me, it is not something that is as easy as that. And I will not want to, as a tax authority, waste my time on somebody who is owing 1 million naira because the procedure is too long. And so bet the utmost thing, I need you to get the understanding that it is not just collecting the money like that. There must be a procedure. And I think, the last question talks about, he said he wants to get a TIN for business name. We have moved away from that procedure of TIN. Now what we have is tax ID. And it's now very simple, whether you are a business name or a company. Just go to taxid.nrs.gov.ng or taxid.jrb.gov.ng, and you have your tax ID. And you can continue to transact your business with your tax ID. I hope I've answered all your questions. Okay, there's one here. It says, as an employee, if you already have a house built from your savings, not loan, how do you claim rent relief? You know, I told you that the president said he wants to tax prosperity, not poverty. And he will tax what? The fruit and not the seed. So if you have been able to build a house from your savings, that means you have prospered. No rent relief for you. Thank you very much.
All right, sir. Thank you so much. Dr. Femi, please permit us, I think we have a clarification here from Dr. Oyebade.
Thank you very much. Please, it appears you didn't get my question. My question once again is that in the past, people who cannot ascertain their income, were subjected to tax on association by association basis. Maybe pay 2,000 naira, 5,000 naira per year, and it is good, presumptive tax. Now, what we have been advising them is that it will no longer suffice. You must be able to determine your income. But your people will come out and tell them that they are not the target. Invariably, they are now supposed to be paying what they were paying before. So please advise your people that are representing the government to tell them the truth in such a way that will not be misconstrued. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I guess you are talking about presumptive tax issue. Now, for presumptive tax, you know that it's under the purview of the states. And what the rule is that the states have the power, though the Minister of Finance is who has the power to develop a presumptive tax regulation for Nigeria. But what has happened is that now, even the presumptive tax, there is a convergence by all the states. Now they have developed a model presumptive tax regulation that now segregates taxpayer into nano business, small business, micro business. And so, and other large corporates. We have large too, but those large will be migrated onto, of course, they will not use presumptive tax for them. Now, for nano, I think is about, the regulation is yet to be out. I think it's about 12 million or so. I think it's about 1 million per month turnover. So I think those are the class they want to exempt from tax under the informal economy. Now, for those other ones, if you remain in the informal economy, of course, you'll be taxed under that regulation. And for those that you can delineate and you can know that they have records, because informal is because no records. The essence also is expected that they start keeping up their records. So if they keep records and they migrate and they are now an enterprise, they have records like the enterprise you talk. Before you said you batch them as association to pay. Now the law is developing a regulation for everyone, not by association again. Yes, they may use association to enforce, but the tax now is by individual. Because when you do by association, you may be enriching association rather than collecting revenue. But you can use association to enforce. That's it. That's another model. That is what they're doing. So that is, I believe I've addressed your question. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Femi Olarinde. You've done very well. Before we conclude matters, with your indulgence, could I ask Dr. Femi Olarinde to spend a little time on the international dimensions of the new tax regime, particularly from the perspective of the tax being customer-friendly, and also from the perspective of sanctions. I speak from personal experience when I talk about what happened in Sweden, where my host was paying 65% of his income as tax. But believe you me, he was not complaining at all. He said, look, he was occupying a 3-bedroom flat. No problem about security, no problem about electricity, no problem about terrorists, no problem about transportation. And if his pension was guaranteed 100%. So he had no problem at all with paying 65% of his income as tax. Then also, with regard to sanctions, let me share with you this report about what happened in the US. KPMG, one of the largest accounting firms in the world, was involved in a massive tax scandal in the United States in 2005. The firm admitted to criminal wrongdoing and agreed to pay $456 million in fines, restitution, and penalties for designing, marketing, and implementing fraudulent tax shelters.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me first start from the area you talk about compliance and international dimension. I also have an experience in Sweden. In Sweden, when you give birth to a child, the first place you take that child to is the tax office. You register that child first for tax before any other thing. And why, like you said, is because they have free education, free healthcare, and many things free. So the child cannot
get them except he has a tax ID. So when the mother gives birth to the child, she uses her own card and tax ID to give birth. But when the child is born, they quickly go and obtain a tax ID so that they can obtain a passport and register that child for immunization in the hospital. So truly, performance of the economy, governance, government trust will engender compliance. And this has been seen in international dimension. And so I agree with what you have said in that respect. You were talking about, I'm trying to remember the last one you mentioned. Okay, penalties, sanctions. When I speak, I normally don't like to talk about sanctions because I expect people to naturally comply. But one greatest sanction I would speak about is that it is now an offense to do business with a person that does not have a tax ID. The sanction is 5 million naira for doing such. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Femi Olarinde. Okay, Daddy.
I hope when you are talking about being customer friendly, you are not equating it with what happened with the reports in today's newspaper about someone running a gym and managed to get 7 of his women clients pregnant. And he claimed that it was just carrying out customer satisfaction. Thank you.
Please, a round of applause for our revered past president. Thank you very much, sir.
All right, thank you so much. If we are talking about customer satisfaction, if we believe that doctor and our father here has actually done justice to this paper and this session, please put it together for them. Thank you. You can do better than that. Thank you so much. And quickly, without wasting much of our time, I would like to invite our own professional colleagues to do a kind of appreciation to the session, to the father, and to our paper presenter. Ladies and gentlemen, please put it together as I invite Alaja Kafilat Azan, FCA, to actually appreciate our presenter. As I invite Dr. Femi Olarinde, FCA, to please step forward to take this token of appreciation from us. Yes. Okay, give it to Alaja. Yes. Okay, Mike.
Thank you. Let's step forward, sir. On behalf of the 61st president of our institute and the organizers of the 28th Western Zonal Accountants Conference, I'm honored to present to you this flag in appreciation of your presentation. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much. All right, thank you so much. And again, quickly, can I also invite our father here, Basharun J.K. Randu, to please step forward as I invite Mr. Toluwa She, pardon me, Ojo FCA, to do the presentation and appreciation to our father here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our Papa Bashorun, we sincerely appreciate you for sharing this session and the humor you have added to the session. Will make us remember some of those things that the erudite scholar have shared with the house. So we want to sincerely appreciate you. So on behalf of the 61st president of ICANN and the organizers of this 28th ICANN Western Zone Accountants Conference, we are giving this token of appreciation, this award to you. Thank you very much, sir.
All right, thank you so much. Quickly, please, let's pass this information to us. Please try to be your brother's keeper. We have a member here that lost his bunch of keys with a Zenith Bank token. Please, if you find it, please bring it to the secretariat here so that we can hand over it to him. And again, please let us also inform you that by 7 o'clock, we are all returning here for the happy hour. DJ Mickey is right here in the building to thrill us with good music. Please endeavor to come back by 7 p.m.
And I want to emphasize that by tomorrow, the session, as instructed by Mr. President, starts by 9 a.m. tomorrow, where we'll be having the plenary 3, plenary 4, before we go to the fame competition. And also, tomorrow, we will be having the gala night here, and we expect you to be in attendance. Our star performance is nice. Make it a date with us this evening by 6 p.m. on ICANN on air, as we will be engaging the Minister of Finance, and the host is our 61st President. So make it a time on all our social media handle by 6 p.m. for ICANN on air. Until we see you tomorrow for the continuation of the program, we wish that you enjoy yourself and come for happy hour and make it happy in the evening. Thank you very much.
And God bless you all.
Yeah, I'm back at you. I'm back at you. I'm on fire, no be peace, no come bust up. You know, any good I know, but I have a lash, anywhere we are doing a part.